So I just want to hop on here real quick. I got a few questions on Instagram in regards to the sight that I have on the V3X. It is a Spot Hogg double pin, and there's been a lot of questions in regards to how sights are fitting in the bridge lock system, and I kind of just want to go over how I have mine set up and how I actually set up all my sights on my bows to maximize the most distance out of them, since I am using a dialed sight, allowing me to move the housing up and down. So I'm going to go over that real quick and kind of show you guys how I have it set up on my V3X, and then kind of show you how I have that set up. It's going to go across the board on all my bows, but we'll go and take a look at it. So I'm gonna hop on here. Fitment has been something that people have been talking about, and there is slop when you slide it in to the riser. Since this sight was not made for it, there's going to be some slop, but you lock that down and you'll get that nice and tight, which isn't an issue after you have it cinched down. As you can see, no movement there. The bow's just on a vise kind of loosely. So the way I have this set up here, there we go. What I do is I normally move the housing to the very bottom of the adjustment rail and then move the rail up as high as it goes. And I zero it out at 20 basically as best I can. So on my black gold, I have my rail all the way up and it's a 5-pin. So I got 20 through 60. And then I have all my adjustment for elevation going down. So I can get about 120 to 125 out of that sight. And then I can stack pins on top of that. But here I'm running the double pin on this bow. You can kind of see right there. I'll move around. There you go. And I have it all the way down on the sight rail there. You can see all my markings I got on it. And then what I go from there is with this bow, because this sight wasn't made for it, you have to move the scope all the way in. You have to utilize the small scope ring on this to get you enough clearance to bring it in. You could probably move the windage all the way out if you want to use one of those bigger scope rings, or wait till the bracket comes out and then you can utilize that, and you won't have to worry about that. But as you can see here, I still got a decent amount of windage. Been tinkering around with this a little bit. I actually got this moved out from center a little bit. If I move this in or away from the inside of the riser, I can move this rod out and have this scope out more. But for the time being, I have it, it's basically touching there, and then it is almost centered there, and that allows me to utilize my sight as best I can. I don't have to fiddle around with this. This is nice and level. Everything's ready to rock. I got it adjusted, third axis, second axis, and I'm actually now waiting on the long range sight tapes. Those should be in here later on today, and I'll be able to swap those out. But this sight has worked really well for me so far. I'm using sight tape 21, and then let's see if we can move this here. With my setup, I think I marked it here. I think that dot right there is where I'll get clearance with my arrow. So that's 100 Figure that's about 110-ish, 115 maybe. And then if you drop down here, get out to 120. I'm gonna have to verify that obviously with those long range sight tapes, but gonna be able to utilize that if I have to do a follow-up shot on an animal, or if I'm doing any sort of 3D shooting events or anything like that. It's always good to be able to have that, just in case, especially if you have to do a follow-up shot on an animal. I am still waiting on the dialed sight for that bow, and once that comes in, I'll be able to do a side-by-side comparison on distance. Dialed did say that you should be able to get about 10 to 15 yards more from their sight because of the way the sight rail's set up. So we're gonna see when that comes in and be able to utilize that. But for the time being, that's how I have this bow set up. My VXR setup very, very similar. It is a 5-pin. It is a Black Gold Pro, but I have the housing setup essentially the same. So if you guys have got any questions, as always, feel free to contact me, and I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as possible.